Welcome back to NASCAR World News. Talladega weekend just became considerably more fascinating, and the individual generating all the conversation is not even a full-time NASCAR competitor. He is a YouTube personality with millions of devoted followers, and NASCAR just denied him entry into one race. But he is arriving at the superspeedway anyway to compete in another. The 2026 NASCAR season continues rolling forward this weekend, and it features a massive triple-header event at Talladega Superspeedway. The Cup Series, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and the ARCA Series are all descending on the same legendary Alabama facility across the same action-packed weekend. And positioned directly in the middle of all this excitement is Cletus McFarland. For anyone still unfamiliar with who this person actually is, his legal name is Garrett Mitchell. He is an enormously popular YouTube personality, commanding a massive and deeply loyal following across every platform. And he also privately owns and operates the Freedom Factory racing facility located down in Bradenton, Florida. He made his very first ARCA Menard Series start back in 2025. Competing with Rhett Jones Racing, and now he has returned to that same organization for a partial schedule of selected events throughout 2026. But here is precisely where the situation gets genuinely interesting and layered. NASCAR declined to grant Cletus approval to compete in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series event this particular weekend at Talladega. That race would have represented only his second career start within that specific series. NASCAR officials essentially communicated that they want to observe him racing on additional short track configurations before releasing him onto a massive and unforgiving superspeedway environment like Talladega presents. They also expressed a desire for him to continue accumulating valuable competitive experience within both the ARCA Series and the Craftsman Truck Series frameworks before advancing further. Cletus demonstrated admirable composure and perspective in his public response to the decision. In a video he posted directly addressing the situation for his audience, he simply stated that circumstances are what they are, and he accepted the ruling without visible bitterness. He confirmed that additional Truck Series races are already positioned on his upcoming schedule, and that his second O'Reilly Series start will now take place at Nashville next month instead of Talladega this weekend. So even though the O'Reilly race door at Talladega remains temporarily closed, Cletus is absolutely still making the trip to Alabama and showing up at the facility. He will climb behind the wheel of the number 30 BaldEagle.com Ford for Rhett Jones Racing in the RCA Menard Series race scheduled for Saturday afternoon. That race takes the green flag at 12:30 in the afternoon Eastern Time on FS1 and carries the Alabama Manufactured Housing 200 as its official event name. This will mark his third RCA appearance of the entire 2026 racing season, and he is not making this trip alone by any measure. His closest friend and longtime content partner, George Sicilian, known universally across the online community as LS George, or alternatively, Squirrel McNutt, is also entered in the same race. He will pilot the number 0 Heatwave Visuals Ford throughout the afternoon. This represents the third consecutive week these two friends have shared a starting grid together. But it marks the very first occasion they can function as genuine drafting partners on a super speedway configuration. That collaborative opportunity carries enormous significance at Talladega specifically, where identifying and working effectively with a committed drafting partner can represent the single most important factor, separating a race-winning effort from a disappointing result buried in the back portion of the running order. There is also a genuinely moving and emotional story embedded within George's participation this particular weekend. He and Cletus made a personal promise to honor the memory of their late friend and NASCAR Cup Series legend, Greg Biffle, by securing approval to compete at Talladega. By successfully earning that clearance and entry into the ARCA field, George fulfills that deeply meaningful personal promise made in honor of someone they both cared about. Last weekend at Kansas, the results were not particularly kind to either competitor. Cletus crossed the line in 20th position after losing an oil line and experiencing a dramatic and uncontrolled slide through turns 1 and 2 that drew considerable attention. George actually delivered a noticeably stronger performance, finishing 12th in his very first competitive experience on a track, measuring larger than 1 mile in total length. So both members of this partnership arrive at Talladega carrying genuine motivation to improve upon those Kansas results. Significantly, Cletus is just 30 years old, and he made his initial transition from full-time YouTube content creator to legitimate stock car racer back in 2025 when he competed in 4 ARCA events across the season. He secured 2 top 10 finishing results during that debut campaign, including a 10th place finish at this very same Talladega facility and a career-best 9th place result at Charlotte Motor Speedway. His plans for 2026 involve approximately 5 total race starts across multiple series. But the destination that drives everything forward in his mind is one day lining up for the Daytona 500. He has consistently and publicly expressed his commitment to developing his craft properly and systematically rather than rushing the process by skipping critical developmental steps. Now let us address the broader competitive landscape for Saturday's ARCA race specifically. This event represents the 4th race of the 2026 ARCA season, and it will feature the largest ARCA starting field assembled at Talladega since the 2012 season. 41 teams have submitted entries for the event, and the top 36 in current owner point standings lock into the field automatically without requiring any further qualification. Joe Gibbs Racing's number 18 entry will roll off from the pole position courtesy of leading the owner standings heading into this weekend. The final 4 available starting positions will be determined by the fastest speeds. Recorded during Friday's concluding practice session, several compelling names and storylines deserve attention when previewing Saturday's ARCA competition. Gio Ruggiero piloting the number 18, Toyota is attempting to claim his 3rd consecutive ARCA victory of the season after winning both the Daytona and Kansas events earlier this year. Jack Wood is hoping to recover and respond following a late race crash at Kansas that proved particularly painful, given that he had paced the field for 39 laps during that same event before the misfortune arrived. Bobby Earnhardt is also entered in the field with aspirations of climbing into the top 10 of the series standings after delivering a 9th place result at Daytona in the season opener. The combination of the Earnhardt family name and the Talladega Superspeedway facility carries a weight and significance that makes his presence inherently worth monitoring throughout the afternoon. Nitro Motorsports is bringing an impressive 5-car operation to the event with Jake Finch, Gus Dean, Jake Bowman, Isabella Robusto, and Thomas Annunziata all flying that team's colors simultaneously. Talladega carries a genuinely remarkable and somewhat mystifying piece of ARCA history worth sharing. The facility has not produced a repeat winner across 19 consecutive races at the track. The last driver to claim victory at Talladega on more than one occasion was 10-time series champion Frank Kimmel, who accomplished that feat with victories in 2006 and again in 2013. Talladega also holds the distinction of hosting the closest finish in the entire recorded history of the ARCA series when Zane Smith edged Joe Graff Jr. by a literally impossible to measure margin in 2018, with the official timing system registering 0 seconds of separation between the two cars at the finish line. Shifting attention to Saturday evening at 4 Eastern Time, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series runs the AG Pro 300 broadcasting on the CW network. 38 cars are entered for 38 available positions, meaning the entire field gains automatic entry without any elimination. Notable competitors including Garrett Smithley, Carson Kvapil representing JR Motorsports, and JJ Yaley are all confirmed entries for that event. Then, arrives the premier event of the entire weekend on Sunday afternoon at 3 Eastern on Fox, the Jack Link's 500 Cup Series race. This is the headlining attraction everyone has been building toward all weekend. 41 cars have submitted entries competing for just 40 available starting grid positions, meaning one organization will be loading their equipment back onto the transporter and making the long drive home after Saturday. Qualifying determines who gets eliminated. All 36 full-time chartered teams are confirmed participants. The 5 open teams battling for the 4 remaining available spots are Jesse Love in the number 33 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet, Joey Gase in the number 44 NY Racing Team entry, Casey Mears in the number 62 Beard Motorsports Chevrolet, Chad Fincham in the number 66 Garage 66 Ford, and Daniel Dye in the number 78 Live Fast Motorsports Chevrolet. Several genuinely compelling individual storylines are woven throughout that group of open competitors. Casey Mears is positioned to start his 500th Career Cup Series race at Talladega this weekend, an absolutely monumental personal milestone that deserves proper recognition and celebration within the sport. Daniel Dye is making his Cup Series debut this weekend, though that opportunity arrives under notably complicated and controversial circumstances. He recently made ill-advised comments during a live streaming session that ultimately forced him out of his planned ride with Kohlig Racing's Ram Trucks program. Now, Live Fast Motorsports is extending him an opportunity to make his Cup debut despite that preceding controversy. If Saturday qualifying gets washed out by rain, Casey Mears is the competitor who would face elimination and be sent home based on the applicable tiebreaker rules currently in effect. The hottest and most dominant competitor across the entire NASCAR landscape right now is unquestionably Tyler Reddick. He claimed victory at Kansas last weekend by overtaking Kyle Larson on the final lap during overtime in dramatic fashion. That result represented his 5th win across just 9 races contested this season. The last driver to achieve 5 victories through the first 9 races of a Cup season was Dale Earnhardt back during the historic 1987 campaign. Reddick will also debut a fresh sponsorship arrangement this weekend as he kicks off a multi-race partnership agreement with Rockstar Energy Drink, his super speedway performance. Metrics from the 2025 season produced the best average finishing position of any competitor in the Cup garage, making him the natural and obvious early favorite heading into Sunday's main event. Austin Cindric enters the weekend as the defending race winner, having claimed victory in this event previously. Chase Elliott has demonstrated consistently excellent superspeedway form in the current generation car, accumulating 1 victory and 4 additional top 10 finishes across 8 Talladega starts in this particular car specification. On the opposite end of the performance spectrum, Joey Logano has failed to record a single top 10 finish across his 8 Talladega starts in the current car, carrying an average finishing position of 27.5 that reflects genuine difficulty at this specific facility. Josh Berry holds the unwanted distinction of the worst average finishing position among all chartered Cup drivers at Talladega at 27.8, a number that will be on his mind heading into Sunday's race. Cup qualifying is scheduled for Saturday morning at 10:30 Eastern, broadcasting on Amazon Prime. The Cup race itself covers 188 laps and 500 total miles of competition. Goodyear is supplying the identical tire compound they brought to Daytona for the season-opening race weekend. Whether your primary interest this weekend involves watching Cletus and LS George attempt their first-ever super speedway drafting partnership together, or you want to witness whether Tyler Reddick can extend his historically dominant season pace even further at America's most legendary and unpredictable track, or you simply cannot resist finding out which Cup team gets sent home before the race even reaches its green flag. This Talladega weekend has genuinely packed something meaningful in for every type of NASCAR fan watching.